Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I appreciate you clicking on that video as always. Today we are looking at a fragrance that I just recently picked up for absolute steal. And it was a risk, and I know probably many of you guys actually took advantage of the sale that had been going on Fragrance Buy. And if you don't know already, the scent I'm talking about is Abercrombie & Fitch Fierce Intense. So I want to say it was last week sometime, Fragrance Buy had this insane sale on a discontinued fragrance, and I want to say it was just over $15 they had it listed for. From what I understand, there were only 2,000 bottles, which is a good amount of bottles at that price point. And the catch was a lot of these bottles are damaged. So they may be leaking, they may be completely smashed. The reason I unboxed it, I had planned on unboxing on camera, but when I opened the box, it turns out that it didn't come in a box. It was just bubble wrap, the bottle itself. But I have to say, I did see some people's bottles, and people were posting pictures on some of the Facebook groups, and some of those bottles were absolutely wrecked. People's bottles were leaking, they were half full. So I'm happy to say that as of right now, I have had no issues with the atomizer, no leaking whatsoever. And for the most part, the bottle's in pretty good shape. You can see some chips on the paint, but nothing too crazy. Obviously, it's not the prettiest bottle to begin with, so I'm not too concerned about chipping paint on the outside. One thing that I did think was odd was that when I took the cap off, there was this blue ink all over inside of the cap and just around sort of the bottle around the atomizer there. So I cleaned it all up, but it was definitely some type of blue ink. Not really sure where that was coming from, but it's a full bottle, and the scent, well, let's get into the scent. So to be honest, it'd be hard to believe that if you are a fragrance enthusiast, you have not heard of Fierce, or it's the lineage of Abercrombie & Fitch Fierce. But essentially, the original fragrance, Abercrombie & Fitch's Fierce, came out in 2002. And it's synonymous with the brand. If you've ever spent any time in a mall where there's an Abercrombie, you can smell the fragrance emanating from that store. From downstairs, upstairs, wherever you are in relation to that store, if you're within 300 feet of it, you're gonna smell it. And then when you walk through, you smell that fragrance. And that fragrance is Abercrombie & Fitch Fierce. Today, we're looking at the Intense version, which came out in 2014. Unfortunately, I don't have a bottle of the original Fierce to compare to Fierce Intense, but based on scent memory and based on the time that it wasn't very long ago that I actually did smell Fierce and I was in the store, it is extremely close. Now, I will say that this particular fragrance, and we'll get performance, out of the way immediately, I'm getting fantastic performance from this. 8+ hours on my skin, projects really well for the first couple of hours. So in terms of performance, I really can't ask for much more. I don't know what the performance is on Abercrombie & Fitch Fierce. That bottle, you can get it in some places for around $70, $80. Still not cheap. It's that, to me, that's not an inexpensive fragrance. There's still some hype around this fragrance, but personally, it's not one that I wore back in the day, so to speak. In my younger days, I did not wear Fierce. I wore other fragrances, but I will say that this fragrance is probably one of the most complimented fragrances you can buy, even today. This has such a likable, recognizable scent profile to it. Many people have scent memory association with this fragrance. Good and bad, I would imagine. But there's just something about it that's really appealing and nostalgic without smelling old, without smelling dated. It's still relevant, in my opinion. The DNA of this fragrance is absolutely still relevant. So with that being said, I absolutely love it. I'm so happy about this purchase. I had been considering buying Parfums de Marly Percival because I really did not have this DNA in my collection. I had tried Percival and I love that scent. I truly love that scent. If you're not going to go with the original, and I will say Percival has its own unique twist to it as well. Quality wise, I think it's better. It's less synthetic. There's more naturals. I've tested it out a few times. Longevity is pretty good on my skin. Really good, as a matter of fact. And I still may purchase a bottle of Percival. But this is definitely going to sort of scratch that itch for me for that particular DNA. So on initial spray, it's definitely a lot of alcohol, a lot of perfumer's alcohol. You don't get much of the scent of what it becomes, but that doesn't last too long. Maybe a minute or two. And then once it dries down and sort of settles, it's really aromatic. It's musky and sweet on the strip. I get a little something different on skin. And I'll get into that in a minute. It has sort of this aquatic, marine-like feel to it while being sweet and aromatic. I would imagine there's lavender in this. For the most part, this scent on the strip and essentially on skin comes across as a really likable aquatic with musk, sweet, really masculine. It's playful. It's not too serious. I wouldn't wear this to a wedding. You could wear it to a wedding, but it's not something necessarily I would wear to my wedding. Just really super likable. Just a really great scent, that musk. There's a watermelon note in this. I don't pick up really much watermelon, although maybe that's the sweetness. Maybe that's what they were going for. But I'm going to put this on skin and see what else I pick up. So same type of deal on skin. I get a lot of that alcohol up top, but it soon dissipates. So again, really aromatic, really fresh. There's a note in this white ginger lily. And by the description of that note, which is the amber colored absolute of white ginger lily displays a fresh, sweet, tropical floral bouquet with a lovely ginger-like fruity undertone. I pick up a lot of that. If there's definitely a floral aspect to this scent. This thing flourishes on skin. It's funny, there are certain aspects of it that remind me a bit of Nautica Voyage, and I would imagine it's probably sort of that apple note that in Nautica Voyage, that same type of aquatic sweetness that I get from that scent, I get from this as well. But on skin, I also get something herbal. Maybe 5 minutes in, I start to get that sort of herbal note to this, which my guess is from the sage. But there's also, this is a really complex scent to me. There's another strange note that you don't see often in fragrance, which is wheat. And the wheat, I think, is giving it this sort of warmth that you don't get often from aquatics. Normally aquatics are just super fresh and bright and citrusy and salty and cooling, and this is some of those things, but there's a warmth to it as it sort of settles down on your skin that is just so addictive that you just want to keep going back for it while still smelling fresh and aquatic. I'm really, really happy with this purchase. One thing I will say is that I don't think that just smelling Fierce sprayed on all the clothes, because that's essentially what they do at Abercrombie. They spray all the clothes with Fierce, and they've sort of become known for that, but it doesn't do the fragrance justice because it's not changing like it would on your skin. If you were going by just typically what you would smell at the mall in Abercrombie and Fitch, I wouldn't do that. I would try it on skin. I can't recommend this enough. I wish that there was still bottles available. The last time I heard, there were not, at least on Fragrance Buy. This is a discontinued fragrance, so you're gonna pay a good amount of money for it. I would revisit Fierce just based on scent memory. I obviously don't have them on each hand next to each other. I think they're extremely close, and that fragrance can be had for around $70. And this may be something that you guys want to consider. I don't like hyping discontinued fragrances, but I'm super pleased with this one, and I think it's so unique, and to be a fragrance that essentially came out 20 years ago, it's worth talking about. It just, I would imagine that I'm going to wear this a good amount, and I think it's kind of perfect because this fragrance is almost sort of coming full circle and it's still relevant. It's still definitely one that you would want to consider. This is signature scent worthy in my opinion. And as far as age goes, that's crap. This can definitely be worn by someone older, more mature. This is not a high schooler scent by any means. Just a fantastic scent. Abercrombie & Fitch, Fierce, Intense. That's all I have today, guys. I appreciate you watching the video. What I am going to do is that when I purchased this bottle, they gave me a link for $5 off to share. So I'm going to share that with you guys. I'll put that in the description below. Basically, if you go to fragrancebuy.ca, you will get, if you follow the link, you'll get $5 off your order. So let me know if it works, if it doesn't work, but I'm going to include that in the description. So if you guys have something in mind, they do have really great prices there. And while I'm discussing that, I do also have a 10% off code for Venba fragrance. So if you go to Venba's website, you can get 10% off your order. They're a really great site for niche fragrances, luxury fragrances. I actually purchased my bottle of Creed Aventus from there. And what I like about Venba is that they have great prices. They're competitive with everyone else. So they're on the lower end. You know, typically they're going to run out of stuff. They're going to sell out of stuff that is popular because their prices are so good, but use the 10% off discount code. That code is GG10 for Venba Fragrance. Check them out too. That will be in the description below. That's all I have today, guys. I appreciate you watching this video till the end. If you like what you saw, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share this video, hit that bell notification so you are updated whenever I upload new content. But until then, have a fantastic rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video.